Hello everyone, this is Jill here to give you the post-game recap for the Purdue versus Rutgers game, Big Ten opener at the RAC. Final score being Purdue 81, Rutgers 65. I think there was a lot of anxiety, quiet pressure, and a little bit of nervousness coming from Purdue fans about this game, given the history between Purdue and Rutgers when it comes to away games and our #1 status and it being spoiled by Rutgers, whether it's home or away. And the second being we've had a pretty poor performance from the Big Ten opener perspective for the past few years. So this was an opportunity for us to make sure that we maintain our dominance and show our composure when it comes to conference play from start to finish, and then also making sure that we don't let certain pressures like past performance get in the way of our performance today. So with all of that kind of leading up to the game, there were a couple things that I was thinking about before I was watching the game and what I was hoping to see. First and foremost, it's always a win and a dominant performance from Purdue, showing a lot of good opportunities for scoring from not just our main players like the starting five, but also get the bench involved. The second thing was maintain our composure. There are a lot of things that can lead to mistakes, and the mental game part of basketball is just as important as the actual physical game. So making sure that we were focused and dialed in on what was happening in front of us was really important. I think the third thing was always respect the opponent, respect that it's Big Ten, and respect that it's an away game. Away Big Ten games are not to be trifled with, and Rutgers is a prime example of not letting rankings or current standings in the Big Ten or things like that get in the way of playing the game and going out and getting a road win, because every road win is important. Enough of that. I think there were a lot of players that I want to make note of, so I want to go through them real quick. From the big three, you saw a quiet but dominant performance from all of them. Braden Smith coming out first half with like 3 3-pointers, something like that, and was able to make some really clutch shots to kind of start getting the momentum in our favor. Fletcher Loyer, very quiet, 12 points. 4 points, I think, were from the free throw line. So even though he might have had a bad shooting day, he was able to generate opportunities and score when it mattered most, and provide opportunities for us to continue to score and get us in a better position. And then Trey Kopp and Wren, probably the quietest double-double you'll ever see. I feel like 13 rebounds, 19 points. He even had 3 assists, all-around performance from him. So very impressive from that end. And again, I feel like his shots, there are a lot that are clutch, and his jump floaters, things like that. But you also don't realize that he just scored almost 20 points in a game. I'll probably rewatch it and figure out where all that happened, but it's kind of insane how quickly it all adds up, just the way he's able to be so productive on the court. Really great to see them have such a great game, especially away. You want to make sure we make a statement. Another key player, Jakari Harris, coming off the bench with 11 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, getting some really good minutes, especially on an away game. That's something that's you don't want to take for granted. And I think he scored some really clutch threes at moments that shifted the momentum into Purdue's favor. So awesome to see there. And for Jakari and CJ Cox, I'm really excited to see their sophomore year and hopefully see some growth and development from that end. You obviously can see there's potential from both of them, and with each game their confidence is stronger. They're more aggressive with the shots they take, and they are unfazed by mistakes or errors, I think. So that's something that is going to be really important, as next season comes around. If they do stick around and they want an opportunity to start, they have a lot of key pieces that we need to maintain our dominant performance in Big Ten, but then also just in basketball in general. I think I'm really excited to see them. You might not see them score a ton, but I think they're so efficient when it comes on defense. They are kind of disruptive for opponents, and they are really versatile players. Like, I think last season you would see our shooting guards, they were very much a strict catch and shoot kind of player. There weren't many situations where they were driving into the paint, trying to collapse defenses and, pass it out to the perimeter, things like that. But with Jakari and CJ, I feel like they have really good ball handling skills where if they're dribbling to drive to the basket, I feel confident that they could go right up to the rim and score. But also if the defense kind of collapses in on the ball, they can both pass it out and have someone sink a three. I have been excited to see them develop and grow. I think with this game, it's just even more so. I think this is such an important year for the underclassmen, the sophomores, to see a shift in their playing time and their skill level for them to then make the jump to be team leads next year. Contingent on them staying, of course, but if the opportunity is there for them, there's a good chance that they'll have some good playing time, and they're proving themselves right now. So, and this is only the beginning. This is only December. So if everything plays out right and we come to March and they're playing even better, that's, what more can you ask for? Another player that just kind of arrived, Liam Murphy, he was out with an injury. He's back. He scored a clutch three and played kind of a four position when our bigs got in foul trouble. So good to see him get some minutes. Probably not as productive as you'd expect, but I think he is a really good role player and just trying to add to the pieces that we already have, considering that Jack Benner was out sick today. We had our bigs, Oscar Clough, Daniel Jacobson. They got into a bit of foul trouble, which I think is something that we'll have to keep an eye on because, if they get into foul trouble, what do we do? They were able at the end to kind of clean it up and be able to stay in the game without generating more fouls, but that is a concern. And I think that was also a concern we saw back in the Baja Mar Championship or tournament. They are part of every highlight reel now because of either clutch passes to them for them to dunk it or for them to pass it out and get a good assist. So really good hands to grab rebounds and then also pass. So the stat sheet might not show their efficiency in this game, but I think it was very apparent on the defensive end that their size was disruptive for Rutgers. Some team stats to go over from field. We were 46.5% from the field, 38.5% from three. Big key stat, 17 out of 20 free throws made, so 85% there, looking pretty good. And then we out-rebounded Rutgers 35-23. Another thing to note, 9 turnovers for the game, so that was pretty good. We had 3 turnovers in the first half alone, so that was a very good low turnover rate, I would say. In the second half, as the game waned on, there were some sloppy passes, things kind of got a little out of control, so that's where we led to probably a higher turnover rate than there actually was, but still really good to see. Taking care of the basketball, one of the most important things. Let's keep it up and see that moving forward. Assists, we had 18 assists across the team, and I think that is impressive in the sense that it just shows you how unselfish we play basketball. Everyone's getting a touch at the ball, everyone's passing it, looking for an open player to shoot, and every single one of them has confidence in their teammates to shoot the ball and make it. So that is something that is always great to see, and it leads to some really awesome offense/defensive breakdown, and it makes for a fun game to watch, in my opinion, at least if you're a Purdue fan. At the end of the day, I think the biggest thing we have to watch for is consistency. We're playing some great basketball right now, and let's just maintain this level of elite, shooting, rebounding, and taking care of the basketball. If we're a problem on the offensive end as well as the defensive end, we have a really great season ahead of us. And so it's just a matter of being consistent. It doesn't have to be every single player, the same players every single game, shooting 20 points a game. But, if someone's having an off day, who's going to step up? Who's going to fill in the shoes? Who's going to make plays and opportunities? And I think we have a deep enough bench that we can pull some people from our arsenal to do that. That's the big takeaway. And then another one that I saw And it just goes to show you the level of seniority that our teams have this year, which is Trey, Fletcher, and Braden. They're all seniors, and it's very apparent that they've played a lot of basketball, a lot of Big Ten basketball. They were very unfazed throughout the game. We played the game as it was coming to us, and they were in control the whole time, whether it was on offense or whether it was defense, making sure that Rutgers shot a contested jump shot, and we're not getting uncontested shots from the get-go. So that was great to see. And, I think it just speaks to, having players that have played together for so many years. And I'm just trying to soak it all in because this is awesome to see. I think there is opportunity for some of our younger players to see that and hopefully learn at a faster rate than others might. I think it was noticeable to me when Omer would bring up the ball. There was a little bit less fluidity on the court, a little bit more forcing things to happen, and a lot more one-on-one action that was occurring when kind of as the second half waned or continued. There was action there that may have been a little bit more forced than it should have been. So I think that just comes with time. He's made a lot of one-on-one contested jump shots by kind of creating space for himself, and it's worked really well for him. And I think that's something that's part of his playing style that he likes. So, great to see him try and generate a shot for himself, but also if there's an offensive play for us to run, let's see that happen before we kind of resolve ourselves to doing one-on-one action like that. I think that's also just kind of coming with time. He's a freshman. He's played a lot of basketball internationally, and he's still kind of getting into the NCAA environment, which I have no idea, it might be a little bit different. I think there's just a lot of opportunity for him to grow there and to get more experience, especially kind of training under Braden and Fletcher and stuff like that. It's great to see him getting a lot of solid minutes. This probably wasn't his most efficient game, but we're going to cut him some slack. He's a freshman. So yeah, I think that was another thing I saw where it's not an area of concern, but more just an opportunity for growth. So that's kind of what I saw. And, I could keep going on. What the common thread amongst all these games is that we're playing some really good basketball, and we just got to maintain it. We got to be consistent and play like every game matters, because it does. So great start to conference play. And next up, we do have Purdue versus Iowa State down in Mackey Arena. So if you are in West Lafayette, be sure to pack up Mackey. We need a lot of Boilermaker fans out there so we can take on Iowa State. And yeah, hopefully it should be a good one. It's on Saturday, December 6th, I think at 12 p.m. Eastern, so we'll be in tune for that. That's pretty much it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.